And we are live. And I have an interesting question for you today. Here's that quick question. How many of you have missed a deadline, forgotten a document, or had a deal almost fall apart because somebody dropped the ball on the follow up? That pause was intentional because that's a huge thing that I hear from people when I get hired, that the last person that they were working with, or they don't want to work with anyone because they still have to do all the follow up and they're worried about those dropped balls. I'm sure that's happened to all of us, including me. And that is what I'm going to talk to you about today because the tools and the game have changed out there. And if your transaction coordinator is not keeping up with those tools and how the game has changed, then you're falling behind with all of the other agents out there that are using those transaction coordinators that are keeping up with everything. I am Rochelle Van Duzer with All About Real Estate LV, and I am your Techy Las Vegas transaction coordinator, your Techy Las Vegas TC, and your AI transaction coordinator in Las Vegas. Now, the reason I do this real estate lead vault every Tuesday is because I try to give new information on what's going on in the industry and give examples of why, if you are a techie transaction coordinator, you are different. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's others out there. Hi to all of you that are out there keeping up with the technology. And you as an agent should be aware that you need to have a transaction coordinator that is keeping up with AI. I always tell people I was not a big proponent of AI, but once I took the classes, I got certified, I learned how to use it responsibly and learned the correct prompting. You can save so much time, and it's amazing. So let me be real with you here. Las Vegas real estate is moving so fast, and the market isn't going to wait for you to find a document, chase down this, chase down that, follow up with a lender, follow up with this person, and do all of that. And most TCs nowadays are still running their transactions with their task list where they're checking off the tasks and stuff, which is great. That's fine. You've got your paper, you've got your email chains with all of your replies and this and that, and they're holding everything together in their head. A lot of them are still holding a lot of things together in their head. And that's just not going to work nowadays. It's just not. The TC who uses AI isn't just faster, but they're going to be more accurate, more consistent, and honestly, a lot less stressed out and be more enjoyable to work with because that energy is going to transfer directly to the agents and clients, and they are just more organized and have things, all their ducks in a row, basically, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to explain to you today what that looks like in practice. What should a TC in Las Vegas or transaction coordinator, what should they be doing that so that you know about AI? They may be doing things differently, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an explanation on how I'm using AI in my everyday transaction coordination to get the job done for my clients. So Claude AI is what I'm using. Was using ChatGPT, but I found that Claude is just, I don't know, it seems to be a little bit more detailed. I can go into that later. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. Claude AI is my thinking partner. So I use Claude to draft, checklists. I had Claude help me build my templates. It helps me think through complex transaction scenarios. And it's like having a senior coordinator that sits next to you 24/7. So people always ask, how can you get all this done? It's like I have an assistant. And if you set things up properly, you do have an assistant. It never needs coffee. You don't have to pay for them. And if you lock it down properly, then other people and other places are not getting all your information. So that's a whole nother subject, but Claude AI is my thinking partner. Now, Manus is another AI agent that actually executes the tasks. It doesn't just answer questions, but it actually researches, compiles the information, handles multi-step workflows. It is the brain of it's, well, Claude, so let me put it this way. Sorry. Claude would be the brain, and then Manus is the hands that's back there doing all this stuff. So you have to have triggers, and my database just has all these things built in. So once this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, which keeps you on track. So it's not just a matter of having a task and you check it off. It's like the task shows up, and if it'll prompt you if it's overdue, or if it's something you got to work on right away. There's a notes section. There's just so many things that you can do. Google Forms is the next tool that I'm using. And every new transaction starts with my Google form. So a lot of TCs have you as the agent fill out this form with all the information. I don't do that. I do that for you because I know that time is money. And I probably shouldn't be, because that's extra time I spend, but it's easy. I know how to do it. I just fill out my Google form that I created for myself with your information, the client's information, basically all the information about the job. It automatically uploads into my database that I created. It creates everything from, like I said, it does everything. It gets my task list set up, whether it's a buyer task list, a listing task list, a task list that has solar, a new build task list. It'll automatically attach that task list, get all my tasks in there, and then start triggering all of my little things that I need to get done so that I don't drop the ball. So I'll actually get emails from my database that say, hey, you're supposed to be working on this today, which is kind of a pain in the butt, and you don't have to have that, but it's just a second backup check to the check when I'm in the database to make sure things get done. Google Forms has all those key dates, and it even has a section where I just say activate, and it will create an invoice. So that is the invoice that I send out to you as the agent so that I can get paid through escrow or the brokerage, whichever one is going to do that. So that is automated too, which saves a lot of time. It just pulls the information from that information sheet, throws it on the invoice, and boom, you're done. So these are examples I'm giving you of how I do it. Another TC may be doing it differently, but this is just how I'm running my business right now to kind of show you the organization and how you can save time as a techie transaction coordinator. And if you are a transaction coordinator, feel free to contact me. I am all for helping other people. I don't see you as competition. There's plenty of business out there for all of us. And I will give you tips and tricks, help you, however I can. I want us all to be successful. The last part of the tools I'm using are Google Sheets and Google Apps Script. That's my command center that I was kind of just talking about, where it's my custom transaction tracker that automatically, that's the key, automatically updates. When new form data comes in, it sends reminders, it tracks deadlines, flags anything that's behind. It's the magic glue that automates everything behind the scenes. So there's no expensive software subscription required. Before, I know people probably paying $50 to $75 a month to have a system like this that does this. I don't have to do that, and it's my own proprietary system, so there's no third-party person out there that has this information. So if you are a transaction coordinator and you are interested in potentially having a system like this for yourself, let me know about that too, because I'm more than happy to talk a little more about how you can have your own transaction coordinator system that you can use and not have to be paying someone else that monthly fee. And you can also change it however you want to. So that's another story, but hit me up. These tools mean that when a new transaction hits my desk, everything's already organized, dated, ready to move before I even take that second drink of coffee. So that is a huge difference between a techie transaction coordinator, which is me, versus the old school transaction coordinator out there. Now, we both probably have a lot of experience doing this, but I'm telling you right now, you've got to use the tools that are out there available to you. They can even double check. I have a checker that's double checking the files that are in my folder to make sure all the fields are filled out so that you don't miss a field, or there's not a what do you call it? Like missing a signature or a little initial or something somewhere. Why this sets us apart from the other ones, the honest truth is most transaction coordinators are reactive. So something happens, you respond, and a deadline might get missed and you scramble. It's very, very stressful. If you're a techie TC, transaction coordinator, transaction manager, that means you're being proactive. So my systems catch those problems before they become emergencies. The automations follow up so nothing slips through. And AI helps me communicate faster and more professionally than having to do everything, the old school way. Now, going back to the old school way, I still do believe in personalized emails. No, I do not have automated emails. Can you? If you want, yes, that's not an issue. I personally still think I want to still be that good old fashioned person who writes notes, sends out my own emails, and also, as far as that goes, same with texting. Get on a third party text with a client, make sure everybody's on the same page. I do not want that automated. Probably will never have that automated. Someone else might. That's fine. That's up to you. I think we still need that personalized touch. We're losing that nowadays. So that's one thing of AI that I want to say. Keep that personalized touch because that will be your advantage. For agents, this means less hand holding of your TC. So if something gets sent out, when this happens, you've got more confidence that your deal is moving and someone actually has eyes on it. In a market, especially like Las Vegas, it's not a nice to have. That's your competitive edge. So check with your TC. Have you checked lately? Have you implemented any new technologies in your brokerage lately? Even with you as an agent, are you using AI responsibly? And do you know how to do the proper prompting? And do you have a transaction coordinator that can show you this or help you, assist you with some of these things? I can do that. And that's part of my services if you work with me. So if you're an agent, you're still doing your own transaction coordination, or you're working with a TC who maybe you're not sure what's going on and they're just not quite up with all of the new technology, that's where I can come in. I will either help train your current TC and get them up to speed so that you have a TC that is a techie transaction coordinator now, or you can hire me. Either way, I want you to be comfortable with who you work with. It's not just having a techie transaction coordinator or the best transaction coordinator. It's having all of the above. That transaction coordinator has to fit with you and how you run your business. I always say if I get a lead online, somebody wants to hire me, we have to, at the bare minimum, do a Zoom, preferably meet in person. The reason for this is to make sure that you and I are going to flow just like the workflow. We want to make sure we're going to work well together. That's going to just be huge in all of the deals moving forward. So I do offer a free consultation. I am on Calendly.com. If you go to my website at www.allaboutrealeestatelv.com, you will see all the information. Sign up, ask me any questions. Like I said, whether you're a transaction coordinator, a realtor, a brokerage, I'm here to help. I want us all to be successful this year in 2026. My agents are killing it right now, even though the market is so wacky. I know you can too. So you can drop questions in the chat. When I'm doing these lives, you can DM me, let me know a subject you'd like me to talk about, or let me know and I'll come in and talk at your brokerage for a little bit. It's all good. Once again, I am Rochelle Van Duzer with All About Real Estate LV, and I am your techie Las Vegas transaction coordinator. And this is the Real Estate Vault signing out. See you next week. And Tuesdays, 10:30 a.m. See you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. End.